I'm sure you're all very aware of the new HBO Harry Potter series, but you missed out on one very important thing. It's setbacks. I mean, I get the hype. 7 seasons covering 7 books, each with every detail that was missing before finally coming to surprise us. That means we're getting a sneak peek into Dumbledore's past, the backstories of the Horcruxes, seeing Peeves for the first time, and we might even get a Ginny with a personality this time. I said what I said. Heck, this might be the only time we might see the book fans and the movie fans on one page. Ask anyone, that's a big deal. But doesn't that seem a little too good to be true? Like we're hopped up on Hogsmeade candy and dancing carefree at the Yule Ball? Frankly, it seems like a meal by Hagrid in the making. Stay tuned till the end, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm gonna drop a lot of dong bombs here, so please subscribe before I send them flying at you. Let's get started. When the movies first came out, the books hadn't been fully released. It was like waiting for the Goblet of Fire to finally throw something back at us. But the good thing is that we had the cast visualized. From the start, we knew who the characters were gonna be for us. Now, the production house is gonna shove a few new actors in our faces and expect us to call them the trio? No shade at the new actors, but the chemistry between the originals was everything. We all saw the reunion, right? The magic is definitely still there. I think it's pretty clear how hurt we're gonna be about it, exactly as much as people were with Cursed Child. I mean, it would not take Veritaserum to spill the truth on that production mistake. But you get the idea. So, will people be willing to accept the new faces and the old characters? No, not without a comparison. Yeah, maybe some new fans would hop right on with the action, but it would become an alien experience for the old fans. That already sends a massive number of fans away from the new reboot, but this isn't what has truly pissed off the OG fans. Okay, before I start ranting about this, let me ask you something. Weren't we clear about what more we wanted from the Wizarding World? A movie on the Marauders, a series on Aurors and their adventures, or maybe even a spin-off on the founders of Hogwarts. Anything would have worked, right? Andrew Garfield is right here, people. They should have cast him as Sirius a long time ago. But no, what do we get instead? Cursed Child? And now this completely unnecessary series featuring the exact same story, or at least we hope that it would. It isn't like the older version is under an invisibility cloak forgotten by the TV. It holds just fine in this day and age, and isn't even that old. Why mess with perfection when the original still has so much to offer? But also, it would be perfect if you subscribe to our channel right about now. Alright, don't get me wrong. I am here for the big changes, the changes that we've complained about for years. But what about the changes we aren't ready for? What about love interests? If the production company decides to cave in to the many headcanons we have created on Wattpad, which one will they side with? Draco and Hermione? Harry and Hermione? Neville and Ginny? While they might make a certain group happy, the old fans will not be too comfortable with the pairings. Plus, they're gonna have to be spot on if they want to make these pairings work. Even for fans that are all in for these ships to work, the writers will have to sew them quite carefully into the plot. If it in any way feels forced or out of the plot, they might just face a lot more backlash than what's already coming their way with the pairings. Might as well just hire the Wattpad writers at this point. Yeah, that might dial the criticisms back a bit. But what if they decide to ruin the typical image of how we see the houses? Hey, don't get me wrong, Slytherin isn't the bad house and Gryffindor isn't the only good house. At least the true Harry Potter fans know that bit. The sheer joy of finding their house at Pottermore was everything. Watching the movies might have forced you to cheat a few times to get Gryffindor, but then you grow into your house, liking it and even owning to its pride. That being said, we still have a typical image in our minds, right? Wisdom, ambition, loyalty, and bravery, the key roles. What if the production company decides to amend it in a few ways, add in a few personality traits, and even play around with the houses a bit? It might work if they pull it off, but the thing that's more troubling is what if they stick to the older adaptation? Calling Slytherin the bad house and keeping both Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff out of the story is not gonna do any good for the storyline. I just really hope they know what they're doing. What are some things that are going to be replaced? If nothing changes, how will they make it any different from the older adaptation? Seems quite the pickle, doesn't it? Trust me, it's like the Weasley twins betting on Crumb to catch the snitch, but hoping for the Irish team to win. You don't know what's gonna work out here. But they have far worse problems than this. Before I move on, please subscribe. I'll know if you agree with me. Whether or not anybody admits, Harry Potter fans are excited about the reboot. And that's the troubling part for the crew. They have a high set of expectations from the company. They want to see a good focus on the trio because, they are the heart of the series, but they also do not want them overshadowing the other main characters. Heck, what if they change the theme of the story? The franchise has always been dark, but with just the light touch of humor to balance it all out. What if the company isn't able to do that with the new reboot? Worse, what if they decide to make it a teen comedy? Yeah, that's not gonna work out. The fans have already taken the older adaptation close to their hearts. Bringing in a new one is like being sent out to fight with the Hungarian horntail. I actually feel sorry for them. They are dealing with a set of stubborn fans who are going to be very hard to please. I know, because I'm one of them. But the fans aren't going to be the only problem for the crew. The TV network is a hard place to be right now. It is filled with stunning, top-ranking, and captivating stories that are hard to beat. You can't bring in a reboot of a franchise and expect to rank in the charts. It's gonna take a hell of a lot more than just a simple remake for it to even remotely be competitive against the other TV shows. Plus, the series is always going to be compared with the old adaptation. The first movie alone crossed the $1 billion mark in the box office. If that's the starting point, can you imagine what the standard would be for the reboot? Insane! Not as much as the next problem, though. The author behind the franchise isn't the most loved person out there today. I think it is safe to say that she might have become the Umbridge of the internet world. At least, that was the case a few years back with the backlash and the criticism. A lot of hardcore Harry Potter fans bid farewell to the franchise. Now, you may argue if they were even real fans, but that's the thing. They were so pissed off that they left the story they grew up with. Calling it the surprise of the year won't be an understatement, though. Not a good one either. Since all of that didn't happen too long ago, the scarring tweets might still be a fresh reminder in people's minds. Would the same people who boycotted the Harry Potter series have any care for a mere reboot? I, for one, don't think so. And unfortunately, that's not the only controversy the franchise has been thrown into. The issue surrounding Johnny Depp is just one more thing that has put a stain on the franchise. While there are a lot of people siding with Amber Heard, there weren't that many on the other side of the story. But then, the trial happened, and everything just got sort of scrambled. The production company of Fantastic Beasts fell into the pressure and fired Depp. It was like pulling out the Mandrake. It was that messy. Now, it might have narrowed the line in Amber's queue, but it did something much worse for the franchise. Fans started protesting for Depp to come back as a Grindelwald. Obviously, that never happened, and the Fantastic Beasts tanked as a franchise. As if it was hit with a bludger, guys. The whole thing was cancelled. That one spin-off Harry Potter fans actually liked. These mistakes are still quite bitter for the Potter fandom. Would these resentments not come up when the new reboot is released? Only if the franchise is damn good, unlike this next problem. With the new era coming, there are a lot of changes that aren't gonna make a lot of fans happy. The production house might make it too modern, or try too hard to get in the big votes of the new generation. That might tone down all the layers and themes we saw interconnected with each other before. For starters, people might not quite like the idea of Snape and Lily's love story. The epic always, and that might just start a fan war worse than the Battle of Hogwarts. That's not all. Voldemort's arc was simply too dark, but it was needed to show why he stood at the end with all the power in his hands. What if the darkness is missing? Or overdone in the reboot? Striking the balance is simply too hard to achieve. Other people did target the lack of diversity in the original Harry Potter series. You know how Cho Chang was the only Asian woman? But she was the pretty girl smitten over Cedric Diggory. That was basically all of her character arc. Plus, the Patel twins only popped up at the Yule Ball, so you might or might not see a Desi theme or a Latino theme brewing in the pots like a potion. What if this series ends up feeling like performative inclusivity? Snape's entire character in the books is rooted in the fact that he's a pale, scrawny guy with greasy hair. These are literally the traits that made him a target of bullying throughout the franchise. There's speculation that the show is considering Papa Escudo for the role, who is undoubtedly a phenomenal actor. But wouldn't it be better to create new characters to truly celebrate diversity rather than altering an existing one? It could bring something fresh to the story, and that's something fans could genuinely get behind. Okay, now don't get me wrong, everything about it seems to shout like firecrackers, but would they make everyone happy? That's a hard cracker to chew, pleasing everyone. If they try too hard, they might just crumble into pieces and make everything worse. So, what do you think? Does this all sound like the Shrieking book hidden in the restricted section of the Hogwarts library? Because to me, it definitely looks like that. Which of these problems do you think is bound to happen? Do you even agree with these ideas? Or do you think the reboot is going to be a fresh start for the fandom? A mere excuse to pop it all open again? Let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and theories. Please subscribe and smash that like button if this video hit you right in the feels. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.